Today we're going to be talking about angle of elevation and angle of depression, okay? So typically you always have about two objects. Notice that in this drawing we have the penguin, and the penguin is looking up at the airplane. So the penguin starts looking up at the airplane, okay? And so there it is, right? Suppose that this eye level is 0, okay? That's 0. And so the angle of elevation would be this angle right here, okay? Theta. Notice that that's the angle of elevation. And then if you wanted to take this picture, and depending on what the problem is asking for, you would take it, and this right here would be the height, okay? Notice that's perpendicular to the level ground, okay? Perpendicular there. Okay, so now we have a right triangle, okay? And here we have theta. Sometimes they'll give you a height depending on what they give you. This is what your picture looks like, okay? There is your angle of elevation, where theta is the angle. And sometimes they'll give you the angle, okay? So let's move on to angle of depression. In this case, you have a taller object looking down. And so in this case, we have the giraffe, and it's looking down at this geometry student, really happy to be doing some geometry work here. So if the eye level here is, that's 0 degrees, okay? And so the giraffe is looking down at this math student. Then the angle of depression is going to be here. This is theta, okay? That is theta. Okay, so since that is theta, this is theta right here. Well, we can also drop the perpendicular here and also create a right triangle. Got it? So now I have a picture that looks like this, okay? Where that is theta. This is my angle of depression. So in general, you'll have an object, okay? You'll have an object here, and sometimes an object at the top. So this is object, object, okay? Object 1, object 2. You'll be looking up at the at it, and this would be the level ground, and here is a height, and there you have your angle theta. For the other scenario, it's very, very similar, but in this case, you have the object at the top. Object 1 is at the top, okay? Object 2 is at the bottom, and you're looking down. The level, the horizontal right here, there is the horizontal, okay? And here would be your angle of depression, okay? Therefore, you can drop your perpendicular and be done. So you're gonna call this the horizontal, right? And you're gonna call this the angle of elevation, and this one is going to be called the angle of depression, and the horizontal here is this one up here. And don't forget that we use the inverse functions to solve for an angle, okay? So if I ever ask you, how do you solve for an angle? You tell me I use the inverse function, okay? To solve for a side, you use the regular trig functions, okay? You use sine x, cosine x, and tan x. And in this case, x is the angle, right? X is theta. And in this case, x is a ratio, okay? So please keep this in mind. Do not forget this. rewrite it, put it in a place that you'll remember, but please keep it in mind. One is to solve for angles and one is to solve for a side.